there's actually a critical place where this change is happening, and it's in farmers markets. Farmers markets is the most direct connection most consumers have with the local food system. Local farmers selling directly to consumers. And that is a seedbed for change. It can be good, it can be bad, but it's where the change is happening. And I want to talk about farmers markets. I want to talk about 2 farmers markets in Muskegon County, because I think in the story of these 2 markets is really the question we face and what we need to do. And I'm going to suggest a very specific action at the end of my talk that we all need to take. The first market is the Muskegon Farmers Market. It's been there since 1888, I think. It's a historic farmers market. It's very large, about 40 farmers go. Only about 6 of the farmers actually grow all that they sell. It's a resale market, a lot of reselling. And at this market, like most of the farmers markets in Michigan, farmers really want to kill each other. They want to get more of the business, and the other farmer get less. And there's this real competition ethic that goes on. There's a lot of anger at the market. And at the Muskegon Farmers Market, which is an embarrassment to me in my county, they do not accept bridge cards. We're one of the most impacted. 33,000 people receive food benefits in Muskegon County, and they can't use their bridge card to buy local fresh food at the farmers market. And that's because it's just crazy politics. But you know the real fundamental reason why this market this Muskegon market is so angry, so competitive, so unserving of the poorest people in our community, is that there's no transparency. People are allowed to say anything they want. This onion, I just grew in my farm, even though it came from South Carolina. Hey, this doesn't have any chemicals. It's not organic, but it doesn't have any chemicals when you use chemicals. There's no requirement that people tell the truth at a farmer's market. And in fact, I was one of the founders of the Farmers Market Association in Michigan, and I resigned from the board over this issue because I said, we need to require the almost 200 farmers markets in Michigan, if they're a member of our association, commit to transparency. The right of consumers to know exactly what they're buying. That was a hugely controversial issue. I was called a communist for asking for transparency. I don't even know what a communist is anymore, but transparency is a fundamental value. So let me tell you the other market. And it's the market that my partner Diana Jancek and I founded in 2005. It's the Sweetwater Local Foods Market. All the food at our market is local, except with certain exceptions that are clearly labeled and they have to apply to us as the volunteer leaders of the market to get these exceptions. Everything's local. Everything is raised according to organic standards. Even if they're not certified organic, we inspect the farms. They fill out huge questionnaires to come to our market. All the animals are raised humanely, no antibiotics, no hormones, all on pasture. And we have a pledge that we require all the farmers to sign that they're going to do this. Well, when you have transparency and you have these values, something happens. It's no longer like survival of the fittest or the one who can lie the most effectively. It becomes a different kind of market. We have a community of 1,000 customers who all know each other. They come there to talk to each other, to share stuff. Most of them are coming for health reasons. So they're talking about how food is helping them with their health problems. It's an incredible community. And we have transparency, we have a commitment to healthy living soil, humane treatment of animals, we have cooperation among the farmers. Our farmers all help each other. We help each other set up and take down. If somebody is injured, they don't do anything. All the other farmers help. That would never happen at the Muskegon market. They would just laugh at them and say, hey, I can get more money now. We need to have this community. We need to build farmers markets are the place where community around food can be built. It's fundamental, and the values that are implicit when you have transparency and healthy living soil are the values you need to transform Michigan and all our economic sectors. So I think it's interesting that Megan last night talked about how gardening sort of popped up in her survey. It's not an accident, because it's real. It's something that each person can do to turn around and go a different direction. Because once you start to grow your own food, your view of food and soil and growing changes. And then your relationship to your neighbors can change, and your relationship to your community. And so that is the key. I think farmers markets based on real values are the key. And the most important value is transparency. So I'm going to tell you a story at the end. I've got 2 minutes. But transparency is the most critical thing that you can demand right now. Go back to your farmer's market and say, we just want to know how everything is grown. And demand it. You're going to get a lot of pushback from people who are making money by not being transparent. But that's too bad for them, because we are not going to survive if we can't have transparency in our food transactions. So let me tell you a story at the very end here. I like this story because it's, we've not really had a serious social movement for about 25 years in this country. There's been some, you could say the gay rights movement is a serious social movement, but I'm talking about the civil rights movement. In 1963, Martin Luther King went to Birmingham, Alabama. And his object was to organize boycotts of local downtown stores to hire African Americans to use the economic power of African Americans purchasing to change the social situation. A pretty easily understood goal. 75% of the ministers, African American ministers, told him not to come. They wrote him a letter, said, don't you come to my community. We have it under control. So he came anyway. One prominent Baptist minister opened up his church to be the headquarters. And so they started marching downtown. Well, Alabama started arresting everybody who marched. So it became pretty clear that it was going to be a really hard deal. And in fact, Martin Luther King spent a lot of time in the Birmingham jail and wrote a letter from there, which is very famous at that moment. So it's now the pressure from the Alabama State Police, from the black religious community, and from many, many people who were scared, who really understood that what they wanted, they agreed with the goal, but didn't want to get in trouble, just stood back. And it came down to finally, they had to keep marching and didn't have anybody more to march. So 3 organizers from Mississippi came over, and they organized the children. And the parents were outraged. And the first march and the first day, the children marched, and the parents were just standing on the sidelines, watching their children march. And the Alabama State Police, in one of the least smart moves in American history, arrested 600 children. That was a real problem because they had no place to put them. So the next day, everybody's saying it's over. It's over. It's done. We can't do this anymore. The children, this is gone. It's gone too far. We've gone too far. The organizers talked to the children, and they wanted to march the next day, the ones that hadn't been arrested. And the next day, they marched. And there was no place in the jails. So Bull Connor turned the fire hoses on them. And in that moment, segregation ended in the South, because everybody in America saw children being brutalized by dogs and fire hoses, and they said, we're not having any part of this. At that moment. That's what struggle is about. It's about risking stuff. It's not just about our meeting, which is really important, but we've got to go out and engage on the ground and take that risk like those children did that day in Birmingham. Thank you.